Hello, friends, and welcome to Adventures in Pixie Land. My name's Amy. I'm an ordained minister, and we are in Bible study. We are in the NIV, and we are in Deuteronomy. Also, basically, Moses' last testimony and the last book of the Torah. And we are coming near to the end. There's only 34 chapters in Deuteronomy, and we are in chapter 29 in this video. So, renewal of the covenant. This is basically Moses's, remembrance memorial. Especially things need to be recounted for the people, because remember, he doesn't get to go with them into the promised land. And where we left off in Numbers, they were right on the edge of the promised land, about to cross over. And Moses even asked to be able to go into the promised land, and God basically said, did I stutter? So he let him go look at it from a hill. So verse 29. Chapter 29, verse 1. These are the terms of the covenant the Lord commanded Moses to make with the Israelites in Moab, in addition to the covenant he made with them at Horeb. Moses summoned all the Israelites and said to them, your eyes have seen all that the Lord did to Egypt and Pharaoh, to all his officials, and to all his lands. With your own eyes you saw those great trials, those miraculous signs and great wonders. But to this day the Lord has not given you a mind that understands, or eyes that see, or ears that hear. During the 40 years I led you through the desert, your clothes did not wear out, nor did your sandals on your feet. You ate no bread, you drank no wine, or any other fermented drink. I did this so that you might know that I am the Lord your God. When you reach this place, Sihon, king of Heshbon, Sihon is the name, Sihon, king of Heshbon, and Og, king of Bashan, came out to fight against us, but we defeated them. We took their land and gave it as an inheritance to the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half-tribe of Manasseh. Those are the shepherds. Carefully follow the terms of this covenant, so that you may prosper in everything you do. All of you are standing today in the presence of the Lord your God, your leaders and chief men, your elders and officials, and all the other men of Israel, together with your children and your wives and the aliens living in your camps who chop your wood and carry your water. You are standing here in order to enter into a covenant with the Lord your God, a covenant the Lord is making with you this day and sealing with an oath to confirm you this day as his people, that he may be your God as promised, as he swore to your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I am making this covenant with its oath, not only with you who are standing here today in the presence of the Lord our God, but with those who are not here today. Okay? So future generations and past generations. You yourselves know how we lived in Egypt and how we passed through the countries on the way here. You saw among them their detestable images and idols of wood and stone, of silver and gold. Make sure there is no man or woman, clan or tribe among you today whose heart turns away from the Lord your God to go worship the gods of those nations. Make sure there is no root among you that produces such bitter poison. Okay? So that's like the Asherah poles and the Baals and all that kind of stuff. And so I'm reading this book. I mean, and I don't know if it's fair to call it a book. It's like it's in a book format, but it's really basically a bunch of historical and archaeological pages that are translated from German into English, so I can read them because my German is very middling at best. Like every so many of those words I might understand, but translated about the Anunnaki, the gods that are in the area. And it starts with just the name Anunnaki. The reason you hear it so often in association with a geological location or even a person's name is because it really just means like An was like their primary god at one point in history, because this is like as far back as you go in Babylonian history, which is, the peoples in the surrounding areas. There's that. An was the name of God, like the primary god, and Anunnaki is just like the children of An. But it really is sort of ambiguous of the pantheon of a particular family, a particular area, a particular, just sort of, just like the Roman and Greek gods, that same, literally the pantheon, as in they have a multi-god system there. So that really is, really was very much so everywhere, because this is not a multi-god system. This is a mono system. There's a God, the living God, especially at this point in history here, because the Messiah, we're in the Old Testament, the Messiah is not yet born. We're still building up to that. Verse 19. When such a person hears the words of this oath, he invokes a blessing on himself and therefore thinks, I will be safe even though I persist in going my own way. This will bring disaster on the watered land as well as the dry. Or way in order to add drunkenness to thirst. Okay. The Lord will never be willing to forgive him. His wrath and zeal will burn against that man. All the curses written in this book will fall upon him, and the Lord will blot out his name from under heaven. The Lord will single him out from all the tribes of Israel for disaster, according to all the curses of the covenant written in this book of the law. Your children who follow you in later generations and foreigners who come from distant lands will see the calamities that have fallen on the land and the diseases which the Lord has afflicted it. The whole land will be a burning waste of salt and sulfur, nothing planted, nothing sprouting, no vegetation growing on it. It will be like the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, Admah and Zeboim, which the Lord overthrew with a fierce anger. Now, I'm not sure where Admah and Zeboim is, but I do know that on Disney Plus, on the National Geographic part of it, there is indeed there's two different ones where it's archaeological things traipsing through the Bible looking for things, and in each one of them there's only like 1 or 2 seasons at best for any of it, but in one of those they did find archaeological evidence that is consistent with what is described in the Bible of what Abraham would have seen at a distance, because Sodom and Gomorrah was up by the Dead Sea, and up by the Dead Sea is where you have those mountains of salt, where it has the pockets of natural gas for it to look like that giant thing of flame, and they did find, an evidence of, where it used to be habitation, but it's basically almost like the people at Pompeii. because it was just covered over from like the ash and the sulfur and the big rolling flame ball. Entirely possible, because there's also petroleum up in that area too to add to the flames. But those natural gas pockets mean that anything can go up in flame like that. Anything making a spark, just like we have to worry about is if you had a gas leak in your house, then anything can make it go off. Same thing. Only they had less education. And, just like here, the natural gas doesn't have smell. We pump smell into it, a sulfur smell for us, so we know when we're in danger in our houses. But when it's in, there's no smell to know it's there before you can set things on fire. Verse 24. All the nations will ask, why has the Lord done this to this land? Why this fierce burning anger? And the answer will be, it is because this people abandoned the covenant of the Lord, the God of their fathers, the covenant he made with them when he brought them out of Egypt. They went off and worshipped other gods and bowed down to them, gods they did not know, gods he had not given them. Therefore the Lord's anger burned against this land, so that he brought on it all the curses written in this book. In furious anger and in great wrath, the Lord uprooted them from the land and thrust them into another land as it is now. The secret things belong to the Lord our God, but the things revealed belong to us and to our children forever, that we may follow all the words of this law. Because in previous chapters, it's a really big, long, involved, terrible curse that does actually, to some extent, happen because of the dysphoria that happens first with the Assyrians, which takes everywhere of Israel except Judah, and then the Babylonian, which eventually does take Judah as well, and then they are gone for long lengths of time. The Babylonian one, I think they were gone for 70 years before they could come back. Not Egypt long, but long. Okay, so the next video, friends.